We go live to Venezuela. The Minister for Interior, Justice and Peace, Diosdado Cabello, is offering statements. Let's listen.
Buenos días a toda Venezuela. Saludamos desde acá, desde el Ministerio de Justicia y Paz, para informarle a toda la colectividad nacional y también a la internacional
and also to the
sobre
international
las últimas
about the
investigaciones
latest
que hemos venido
investigations we have
desarrollando
been carrying out
y aclarando
and
algunas cosas,
clarifying some things,
sobre todo
mostly
en las áreas que competen al
in
Ministerio de
the
Interior y
areas
Justicia.
that has to do
Garante,
with
pues,
the prosecutor's
de la paz
office,
en todo el
guarantors
territorio nacional,
of peace in the whole
juntamente con
national
nuestras Fuerzas
territory. Of
Y
course, in conjunction with
fíjense que
our
hemos
armed
venido
forces,
avanzando
and so we have
desde
been
aquel
advancing
momento que
since
dimos
that
una rueda de
time
prensa
in which we
informando
provided a press
de los hechos en el
briefing
estado
informing
Zulia,
about the incidents in the Zulia state,
precedido de
which
un
were
decomiso de un grupo importante de armas
which there we just seized
aduanas
a lot of weapons and those were sponsored directly by the United States. We've got a lot of evidence. Besides, with the acceptance that weapons were coming out of the United States from the facts that Interpol just provided to Venezuela, requesting, and they requested information, and there were over 500 weapons of different kinds, and after that there was the information of the Zulia state, and it was the information about this mister of that had a lot of enterprises of fishery enterprises related to the shrimps area, a great company. It was it was a group, an enterprise group, and so there were meetings in Colombia with opposition sectors, among whom there was the lady Maria Corina Machado, and we have said it a lot of times, and we are going to continue to insist on this issue. Besides, we have just said that when the New York Times launches this, then they will start to believe it. When there's a great media outlet from the north issued this, they will start to believe it. Evidence that we have found are ways of investigation that we don't have to just disclose it right now, but this investigation is underway, and this has led us to let's put the agenda. Let's put this organization, this Pablo Guanipa, Edmundo González Urrutia, and other opposition characters that have been in meetings and activities. And when we just conducted this operation, there were people from the judicial power, from the armed forces, from the police, the prosecutor's office, and there was a whole plot there to initiate from and it was just went through the military training of in the region of Colombia, and there we just find out this mister who ran away, and we just discovered his attachments, and he has a direct link with Colombian drug dealing, and so he used his companies, and it was determined with the investigation work of the armed forces, and so he just sent those shrimp containers. They sent drugs in those shrimp containers, and they have been just officials. We found out. We just found out some officials working on the. And we just put it at the service of justice, and then when the blow we gave him with the weapons, they felt it. Many operations failed because of over 500 fusiles were just seized, and they weren't quiet. The Rincon just lost his companies attached to conspiracy and to drug dealing against people of the leadership of Venezuela. So there were captured a group of mayors in the Zulia state linked to drug dealing, and then we captured an extraordinary quantity of drugs. So please put the second image, please. Second slide, and there we just these are the mayors, the armed groups, those who operate, who have been operating in the plot, because this is a plot that is together, that is united. The right wing just lost principles. They just use money of drug dealing for the purchase of explosive, lackeys, criminals, terrorists. Please, next slide. And there it appears a person, Jose Enrique Rincon. And this Sir Marcos Jose Valbuena Rodriguez. We are speaking of that whole operation. Marcos Jose Valbuena Rodriguez, alias Patas Largas, long legs. Within the whole investigative plot, and so we are just, they thought we are just speaking foolishness, that what we are doing is a game, and it's not like that. We said that they were trying to abandon Zulia state to go to other region, and we just highlighted the eastern of Venezuela at that time. I am just reviewing what happened. And this sir that is here, Marco Jose Valbuena Rodriguez, there the mayors appeared, and this Sir Gerson Parra. By the way, today we have just captured the main lackey of this sir, who is the one that in charge of purchasing weapons. Do you remember this name? Marco Jose Valbuena Rodriguez, alias Long Legs. So he just was working on the Zulia state, and then he decided to go to Sucre state. And on the Sucre state, you should remember that a few days ago we spoke of the seizure of a set of weapons. There you see the evidence. Could I work? Can I work by here? So weapons, that is here. If someone has a camera, this is a grenade launcher that launches those things that are here, those devices here. And so we found it on the Sucre state. And we found those little things that are here. Those are fusile grenades that just launched, and these devices here that are called, these are just grenades of a rocket launcher, GP. This is a high-tech weapons, and we found this GP in the transfer of all these arms, and we just left this set of evidence. We just found GPS, mobiles, cell phones that speak by themselves, radio equipment, those beauties that are here. This has a magnet. Those beauties that are here, those are just cutting-edge weapons, and so three fusiles that are just of Israeli manufacture, and the Galil fusiles. And so in Colombia, they used to have Galil rifles. And so all this is linked to Mr. Balbuena Rodriguez, Long Legs, and there we just made this operation, and these 4 citizens were arrested. And this citizen gets Kendall Jerome Gibbs from the Trinity and from Trinidad and Tobago. He brought the weapons and transferred it to the Sucre state. By the way, the journalists, those who were for the drug dealing, they tried to make a scandal saying that the Puerto Santo population took to the streets for mistreatment, and it wasn't like that. We were dismantling a great criminal group of drug dealing that was being used for political purposes, and those weapons were not to smuggle drugs. Those rifles were for terrorist attacks. Afterwards, we just captured these people that are here, that are from Venezuela and from Colombia. When those 4, they came to Zulia, and we just grabbed them on the bridge. Those 4 on the right, on all the structure. Do you remember that vessel that we just captured, in which an Argentine was coming, and that Argentine was a kind of Che, and that Argentine, Herman Gulianis, just met with Antun Merdetsa, the Serbian guy, and they met together in a vessel to plan drug dealing and flux of weapons to Venezuela, to give them to Marcos Balbuena Rodriguez, that has links with Mr. Rincon, and Mr. Rincon has direct links with Venezuelan opposition. And those 10 rifles, 1 grenade launcher, 8 GPS 6, all these were captured in Puerto Santos, and that operation continues because we are just following a lot of weapons that we are just following that information, and among those weapons they brought another powerful weapon. So those who didn't know the machine gun .50, well, imagine it is like that, and so there it passes even the steel, and so they use it as an anti-air fire to just hit airplanes. And so this search just brought this armament, and we fortunately managed the arrest of these people, and just we arrived here in Caracas and they were captured. There are 2 women here that we are not going to mention, but there are two women.
Hubo un delincuente,
A criminal,
Zacarías,
alias Zacarias,
a esta
very popular, linked to this plot, and we found rifles, grenades,
del lanzagranadas que están ahí, la tenían
that
ellos
of the
en posesión,
grenade launcher, and so they had information,
teléfono, y
cell phones, and we continue investigating.
y nosotros
And we,
esta investigación,
this
bueno,
investigation, well, we just
todo esto, van a ver dónde
received an alert, and you will see in which this ends. And please put the slide. These are the two ladies. There she is.
nos llega una alerta.
So we just received an alert. The alert that we announced the use of explosives for hospitals, embassies,
Sitios de
for
servicio público,
public services sites, and
instalaciones pues.
against all facilities, and so in a hospital would be terrible, and against people, leaders of the revolution and opposition leaders.
No, vamos con esto.
Now let's see the Táchira.
Y estamos trabajando
And
toda
so
esta
we are
información
working
que se lo ha
onto
venido
this
anunciando
information,
Simonovic
and
ya va.
we
Lo
have
ha
been
venido
announced.
anunciando Simonovic desde hace tiempo.
Simonovic have been announcing this for a long time, and we just received information from an agent,
Hasta nosotros mismos, yo mismo pues
and even myself,
tuve que ir porque la persona no
I
quería
had
dar
to
información
go
a nadie.
because the
Entrevistamos.
person
La
didn't want
información y la
to
información resulta
provide the information to anyone, but the information resulting in positive,
Deben recordar que
including,
en Barinas
you must
capturamos nosotros los
remember
detonadores.
that in Barita we just seized the electrical detonators, those little devices, small devices,
El detonador, sí, eléctrico.
the electrical detonator,
Hemos capturado C4,
and
pero
we
faltaba
have
un detalle.
just seized the C4, but it missed detail how to make it explode, as that information was provided to me. Let's go to the Táchira. We went to the Táchira state, and we seized the following:
Estos dispositivos,
these devices,
tipo de radio,
radio
¿sabe cómo
equipment.
funciona esto?
Do you know how it
La
works?
señal de radio
Well, the radio signal just issues a spark that
eléctrico va
that
el C4
turns on
y funciona para 10 gramos, para 20 gramos,
the C4, and it
5
works
kilos,
for
para 10
20
kilos, para donde le ponga.
grams, 10
Y este
kilos
trabaja a
to
distancia.
whatever
Explico.
quantity, and it is
Pone eso
detonated
aquí,
by
y
distance.
con un radio
You
a
place it on a
cuadro.
corner, and I've got
Solo
a
puede hacer,
radio
pasa
3
un
blocks
radio
away, and just
Lo va a soltar tranquilo.
it explodes.
Solo con hacer esto,
Just with doing this,
aquí le da señal,
you
esta es
just
una señal
push the button,
eléctrica que
and
vaya y
it is
dispara.
an electrical signal that shoots the device.
Con eso nada más.
With just with
¿Cómo
that.
lo encontramos?
And how can we
¿Cómo lo encontramos?
find it? How could we find it? Well, let's first
los videos de cómo lo
put the
encontramos.
videos
Ah,
of
bueno,
how
la
we
persona me
found
dice,
it, and the
dice,
person
"Mire,
just
tiene
told me.
esto.
Well,
Lo traen en un
they
carro colombiano.
they would brought
Carros pasan de Colombia.
they would bring this and
Los funcionarios son unas
of a Colombian car, and our officials are stars. I'm gonna tell you.
policiales, por eso les ha costado bastante.
That's why, because they are just
Ponga el video.
very smart, and just put the video.
Ah, quita el caucho.
So I just removed the caucho. Within
Tú no
the
lo cuentas y uno dice, ah, no, pero dice, seguro
within
la
the
policía me dice,
tires
no, no, pero
of
es
a
por fuego.
vehicle, and well, it seems like a game, but it
fue
wasn't.
detenida una persona.
And so a person was
Una persona,
arrested.
ponme la cara del ciudadano colombiano.
Please put the face
Ponme esa
of the
estructura.
Colombian citizen.
Nosotros en esto, la
We,
estructura-
okay.
no, la estructura del
Well,
colombiano, compadre.
the structure of the Colombian, please.
Estamos ya en este caso.
We are on that case.
Colombiano, donde está alias Abel.
The
alias
Colombia
el
in which
viejo.
alias Abel and the old guy are.
Esa no.
That is not the one.
Ajá, pero hay una estructura. donde
But
aparece
there
alias
is a
Abel y
structure
alias
in which
viejo.
there is
El que habla
alias
primero.
Abel and the old guy that I want to speak first
Muchas
about
manos en el
it.
caldo ponen.
Many hands
caldo
in
por
the
apareció.
caldo.
Si no la tenemos, me dicen. Pero no
Well,
para
if
pedir para
we
hoy.
don't have it, tell me.
No importa, hablo con este. mientras tú lo
Okay,
buscas.
I'm gonna refer to this one. Well,
Lo llamamos, tiene una película que se llama El Transportador.
this is the transport
Caso del transportador.
transborder
Ender
case.
Jesse Gómez Soto.
And there, yes,
Nacionalidad
Gomez Soto, Colombian citizen.
Él habla,
He
trae
is,
estos explosivos.
is
5
he
dispositivos.
brought these explosive devices, 5 explosive devices, and he referred to two Colombian citizens, alias Abel and alias the thing.
Él trae el explosivo de dónde?
And so these are his contacts, and he brought his explosives from Colombia,
¿De dónde vino el dron?
Do
contra
you
el
know
presidente Nicolás Maduro, ¿verdad?
where the drone came from against
¿Saben
President
dónde estaban los
Nicolás
campamentos
Maduro from Colombia.
Que hicieron
And do
Operación
you know
Dragón
where
en Colombia?
the camps were of the
Desde
Operation
hace días
Dragón
venimos diciéndole
from
que los
Colombia?
campamentos que
And
están ubicados
the camps
en
that are
Ecuador
located
se
in
venían
Ecuador
moviendo hacia
have
Colombia,
been
pero
transferring
que
to
el objetivo
Colombia,
ahora
but
ellos
the
necesitaban
target
salir de Petro para después
today
salir
is
de la
that
revolución
they
bolivariana.
needed to get out of Petro and then to get out of the Bolivarian Revolution. And it is a miscalculation because
A Uribe, a Santos, a
we
Pastrana,
just
y a Duque, y aquí
get
estamos
rid
nosotros, y
of
ellos se fueron.
because they just got rid of Uribe Duque and they left and we are here. And so this gentleman is just arrested, and the first thing he said that he was going to visit some cousins in Palmyra.
Prima, ya, ahí está. Además de eso,
And,
otras personas capturadas.
and besides him, there were some Colombian citizens arrested. And let's listen to what he said.
El uno primero, pues, luego el dos.
Put the place, the first one.
Mi nombre es Ender Jesse
Well,
Gómez
my
Soto.
name is
Número de cédula
Jesse.
1090480-262.
My
De
CI,
nacionalidad
well, I am from
colombiana,
Colombia,
de Cali.
from
El
Cali
19
City,
de
and
junio
on
del
June
presente
9, 2025, alias Abel contacted me to transfer some explosive heating in a tire to Oreña to deliver it to El Flaco, who was going to move it to Caracas to place it on the embassy of Colombia in Venezuela, and I was paid
Primera misión.
700,000 pesos, Colombian pesos, and we will continue to talk to him next video. And likewise, last year and this year I have been transporting 4 people, 2 Venezuelans. One didn't speak Spanish, apparently a gringo, and another one Colombia, and and they were coming here to make sabotages against political leaders. So place the structure, please, the chart. Alias El Flaco and the Embassy of Colombia, the National Electoral Council, the Supreme Court, and the leaders. Remember, Venezuela must recall that on 2000 there were placed explosives in the Embassy of Colombia, in the Embassy of Spain, and in the National Electoral Council. So they repeated the script. It is incredible the level of clumsiness, and the ones who placed those bombs are protected by the United States government. It is not ironically, but they are just part of that structure. And so we capture that gentleman, and now let's mention the case Maragaya. Because here it is where everything begins to be shaped, and it explodes the attack of Israel. Well, it explodes the attack of Israel against Iran. Let's remember a coward attack. They just attacked Iran, and they revived here in Venezuela the narrative that Venezuela had some Hezbollah agents, that here in Venezuela we've got a relation that we have never denied with Iran, that here in Venezuela we manufactured. You must remember the lady declaring that the only country in Latin America, that it is a very stupidity, because the only country that has capacities for manufacturing drones with Iranian technology, that we've got links with arms companies of Iran that were installed bases and manufacture of missiles and rockets. They revive it, seeking the United States takes them into account amid a war between Israel and Iran, and so an attack of Israel against Iran, and so they expected that they could solve their problem here in Venezuela, a problem that they couldn't just resolve by themselves. And it is ironically to think that, but they did it like that, and so it is just very wasted. It is very it is very common, this narrative. They said here there is the trend that our criminal group, and there are links with international terrorism, and so this is very bored already. And so who the Zionists murders attacked? Leaders and political leaders and scientists. So by popular intelligence, we just listened on the streets. The citizen Miragaya, that this gentleman here, Armando Jose Garcia Miragaya. And I will look here because I'm gonna read who is this person. And some people say, poor guy who is an elderly, then he's not going to do anything. But I'm going to tell you who is this sir before, because here it enters into the game to mention, well, this citizen was vice president of planning and control of the state oil Venezuelan company, and secretary general of the republic. So he's a professor of chemistry, scholar, scientist, that calls his ex-wife in the United States, and he contacts the FBI because he's going to say where are the launching the launching sites of the Iranian missiles here in Venezuela. Picture this, they are just giving consistency as a scholar before the speech of the lady that wants that Venezuela to be bombed, that she wants that missiles be launched here on Venezuela because so she needed someone to validate her narrative. And this scientist, this sir, put the chart please of this case. This sir found a cell phone that wasn't his own. And this lady, Juana Nieves, is his ex-wife who is in the United States and who contacts Juliana, who is an interpreter of the FBI, and then he's giving information about the issue. And so we've got some audios, some 20-minute audio in which he said where things are and how things were conducting here in Venezuela, but we will keep this information. Please put the number one. Friends of ours communicated today with me, and they want to know that if they can speak to you by means of my telephone.
Seguro.
Sure. But let's set the date and time, and then we will call them. You just set the date and time, and tell me what time did I call. Should I call you? Listen up. My friends want to travel there and to talk to you, but don't say anything because they don't want you to know. And yes.
¿A qué hora?
What time?
Aló, dime a qué hora.
Please tell me the time.
Okay, a las 9 en punto.
Okay, at 9.
Okay, a las 9
At 9 sharp a.m. I am going to go to them, and then we will call you back. So it depends on what I just agree with you that they will travel. Okay.
Okay, Armando.
Okay, Armando. So they will call me now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.
¿Y ahorita se escuchará este?
So can we listen to this one?
Ponga el 2 para ver.
Please put the number 2.
Porque la idea es que se escuche lo que
Because
dice, ¿no? Pues, si no, no.
the idea is to hear what this mister said, because otherwise we cannot understand. Look, they are coming to my place, and it is very serious and dangerous because they are just transferring this, and that crazy has a plane in Mexico.
La primera es
So the first Juanita asked Armando. Juanita is the interpreter of the FBI, Puerto Rican Cuban, and the FBI could talk to him, and so Juanita indicates Armando that the FBI would come to his place, and Armando has to say that the situation in Venezuela is very serious and dangerous. Audio 3 said FBI talks to Miragaya and assures that the cell phone is not sure, the line is not sure, and Juanita said to Armando that the FBI wanted Armando to go to the embassy of Colombia in Venezuela, and then Armando confirms Rita that the information he would provide is on the first hand information. And so on his cell phone,
No. ¿Cuál es ese?
which one is it?
Pero ¿y se escucha completa? No.
But can we hear it fully? So this is the picture of the cell phone.
Estamos en Miragaya, compadre.
So we are on the Miragaya case.
No, eso no.
It's not that one.
Voy aquí.
Okay, I'm going to refer to it, to this.
Él señala
So he pointed
la
out
señalización de ubicación en un mapa de
the
Venezuela permitido a la Bonavista Nacional número
the
3,
locations in Venezuela from the Jorge Granados cell phone, and so he highlighted Falcon's refinery,
este mismo lápiz.
Falcons in which the refinery is,
Falcón. Aquí señala
and on this image he just pointed at.
Ponte en situación. Es que se
So,
ponen los dos y no me escuchan.
because he just
Los dos audífonos, no sé.
put the
Esto lo tiene él.
headphones and cannot listen to me. Well, and this
Y se lo
has
señala, y
it,
de aquí saldrían
and
los cohetes, ¿y
he
dónde
said
van?
that the rockets would
Aquí señala
would
otro
come from
punto de
here
mapa,
to the United States, and he just
Bolívar,
pointed at
Bolívar, muy
the
cerca de la
Bolivar
presa de
state,
Guri,
very near to
señalando él
the
lo que no supone que
Buri
vendría un ataque
Dam,
¿contra qué? Contra Guri.
allegedly attacking Buri from.
Este señor
And so this Mr. Miragaya emerged to
de los terroristas que
validate the terrorist narrative that wants to attack Venezuela. All of it has an end
generar las
to
condiciones en
generate
Venezuela
the conditions in
para
Venezuela
que los que tienen las armas
for the ones who have the weapons
y con eso
take to the streets, and with that sending a message to the United States and say that they are doing something to try to get any traitor of the homeland, any military to rally. So that's the only thing that they would want at the internal, because they know that at the inside of Venezuela they have no strength, and so they need the intervention of the United States. And there is the FBI linked, and if you can fix the audio, please let me know.
No, pero ya está arreglado.
Is it fixed?
Ponga el primero entonces.
Well, put the first audio, please.
No, pero que se escuche aquí.
But it needs to be heard here. Well, the time. Tell me at what time can we call you? Well, let's see that tomorrow morning. So my friends want. Okay. My friends want to speak to you. Well, if it is okay with you, they want to communicate with you when they are there. So So there is this issue, and I am just expecting them, waiting for them. And so you want I see them because I would have this telephone tomorrow morning, right? At what time? Tell me the time. Let me see, 9 sharp. 9 sharp in the morning. Okay, at 9 sharp in the morning I am going to see them, and then we will carry all the telephones. So it depends on what they just need. They are going to travel, and there are 2 serious things. Is it okay? Okay, thank you. They will call me right now. Sure. Perfect. Bye-bye. Put the number 2. Tell me. Look, they are coming to my place. Edmundo knows that I am here, and so they are just playing with it. And that crazy has a plane in Mexico. What I said is that this business, that everything can be screwed, but if they are not there, okay, they should come. Where are you? At the place? Yes, and I am not thinking of going out. Okay, so now let's charge the phone and be vigilant. I am not with the adequate phone, but I can. Hi, Juanita. Armando. Hi. These people are hesitating. Listen to me, they don't understand that here a university professor has no money. They don't understand, they don't know, they are ignorant. This has nothing to do with it. Listen to me. This makes that there are lots of people like me that we don't have money, and this has nothing to do with it, but the people that don't have money, then it doesn't mean that it is not trustworthy. We are very trustworthy, but we don't have money. And I tell you one thing, they think that they know what is happening in Venezuela, but they don't know. And so if you can get money from it, I am not talking about this, is that I cannot move. Understand? Right now, I could have some money at the bank, but I only have $4. Understand? This is the real reality that it's happening here. What do you think? What do you want? That I can give you money? But I'm just telling you that it is not a leverage. It is that there isn't. There isn't. And so there are things that are value a lot, but I don't have money. And so they don't have to distrust and trust, but because the information is on the first hand, it has nothing to do with the information. I don't have money. I am not asking for money. Okay, be careful. What I'm telling you is my reality, that I cannot move because I could have the money to buy a cell phone, but I don't have it. And so I would have to have bought a cell phone for months, but I couldn't afford it. And the cell phone was stolen from it. But so forget about it. It's okay. But you are just speaking of months, but right now I don't have it, so I have to get out of the house to listen to any other place because the situation is really complicated. They don't understand what happens, but don't mix things. It hasn't to do with money. It's knowing that this is paramount, right? It has nothing to do with money. Don't mix money with them because what I tell you, it's because the ex-wife said how much money you will get from it, but it's not money. And so put again, where is the pencil? Nuclear bomb, atomic bomb, missile. From where? From Venezuela, heading for the United States. That's the information this SUR is sending, and I keep for myself a 19-minute audio of Mr. Armando Miragaya with the FBI directly. I am showing you this small, but we can advance further when they speak this foolishness that this SUR is a scholar and that ex-wife is just mounting a business. So just consolidating the speech of this crazy that wants to bomb Venezuela, a soulless person that requests to bomb her home country, and this is a plot of conspiracy, drug dealing, terrorism, and the use of criminal groups, of armed groups. At the end, in the weapons that they purchase with the money of drug dealing are going to be used by criminal groups to disturb, to just burst out clashes with these explosives placed in this size to generate chaos in Venezuela. So it is really alarming the level of desperation of these people. That's why we want to denounce in front of the whole world that against Venezuela from the United States, no one of the FBI executes this kind of operation if they are not authorized by their bosses, by their heads. So no agents do anything without their bosses, and so they just open this alleged file of a popular scientist who had to run away from dictatorship, and so he just mentioned these atomic bombs of Iran in Venezuela, and so for Venezuela to be just bombed. And so we continue working, and between yesterday and today, we have captured in Venezuela an important figure of drugs, which is the sponsor of. Remember that on the Relámpago operation there were 30 million drugs, and in the Apure state we just seized 600 617 kilos of weed, and all that information was provided by their cell phones, because this Mr. Scientist was a drug dealer, and yesterday on June 30 on Falcon State we got 3,061 kilograms of weed, 3 tons, 3.1 tons of weed. And there you see the photos, 3,161 kilos of weed. We've got a video. Let's see it. So those who have eyes can see. So today, on July 1st, it ended the first semester of the year 2025, and so we have seized an upper quantity of drugs of everything that we seized last year in first semester, just in the first semester of this year. So let's remember that we have just hit 396 aircrafts that used for drug dealing, and so we are just carrying out an operation in Zulia State, and we've got we've seized 163 kilograms of cocaine right now, and we've got a series of detentions, and all regarding this drug dealing operation is linked to the terrorist operation, to the paramilitarism and conspiracy and money laundering of and so all this year we have been saying the links of the far-right opposition led by Maria Corina Machado with the drug dealers of Duque and Pastrana from Colombia. And so that's the Cañonera case. We've got a video. Let's watch it. Those were the first 60s, and then we found more on the beach, and we declared combating any expression of criminal groups in the country, those drug dealing groups, conspiracy groups, criminals groups. Let's call it a group of corrupted politicians. Politicians that do not have shame to unite to money of drug dealing. And so if there is any question, I would appreciate it. The first question is Madeline Garcia by telesur. Hi, how are you doing, Minister?
¿Pensaban ellos hacer estas operaciones
So what dates were these operations? They thought to execute these operations, and the arrest of these scientists, what else revealed? Taking advantage of this international context of Iran, we saw the declarations in sequence of Maria Corina Machado, Julio Borbes, with all their communicational operators. Well, look, we have been conducting this work in silence, a big part of it. Then when we have to disclose it, it upset us, an investigation that is carried out. But this has no context because we have been conducting all these operations in silence. They thought in the mayor's elections to attack, and they couldn't do it. Governors, and they couldn't be able to do it. And a big part of it is what they are just preparing for the mayors and councilors elections. I am going to advance you that we've got a surprise for them. You are not going to like it. Just wait. And well, the scientists, yes, of course, it what validates in an academic point of view to the narrative that Venezuela is a center of Al-Qaeda, terrorist international groups, of drug dealers, of everything we were accused of them. And so that gentleman, when we just arrested him, well, no, I am just talking from scientifically point of view, as what he was doing was a usual thing. But you just said to the main enemy of the world that Venezuela is going to shoot a hypersonic rocket from Nawana. And so the main enemy of the world, do you think it's not going to take retaliation against our country? And so his ex-wife was just trying to see how much money she could get from it. And so we are just finding out the links of the ex-wife with some opposition leaders. So it is a conspiracy against our country. The world knows. The world knows that here it is a scientist from the North Korea that came here to say all the armaments of North Korea and all of, and so it didn't appear a single weapon, weapon of massive destruction. So they are just using the same narrative they used in other countries. That's why they attacked, because they find hard to convince the Iranian scientists, and so they ended up assassinating them with missiles. And it is the same narrative they have been used.
te
And
hablo, pues,
so
importante, información de primera mano.
it is a first-hand information, as
19
he
minutos
said,
hablando
19
con el
minutes talking to the FBI, and we've got that video. Thank you. Second question, Eligio Rojas by Últimas Noticias Daily. Greetings, Minister. As far as I understand, this lady speaks of an attack coming from Venezuela to the United States, and that attack was something mounted by them. But as he just assured to an international organization, an entity of the United States, was it something mounted to trigger a response of the United States toward Venezuela? And then you spoke that they expected with that action a traitor to the homeland. Have you detected that these people that were behind this plan had some military or civilians captured, caught? And this sir then told that he had an economic problem, saying that his information was gold, and he was an official of the PDVSA. We are in presence of a leak of information of people that have been working on the oil industry. Thank you. Well, he was not any official of PDVSA. He was the vice president of planning of PDVSA. So I don't know how, but surely it was the PDVSA that was on 2003 after the coup d'etat. How much information he would manage, he would have managed. And so after the coup d'etat, it was not that the elites, the traders were there on the PDVSA, and so it is part of fake news to create a false positive in our perception so far, because it comes to our mind that it is kind of complicated that they could have a missile to launch to the United States. So these insane people, the Venezuelan opposition, to just have a drill on this incident. What it is demonstrated is that the United States doesn't need any proof, and so the United States has been just opened alleged files with everything that goes on the media outlets. How many stories repeated? How many times they have done it? Proofs, evidence. It is part of the headlines of Aznar. If I were smarter before, I would have heard that they weren't massive destruction weapons, and that's why Spain was participating. They don't need proof, but information was gold, and then they could say that information was fake, and they regretted about the action. It is terrible, the level of disassociation of these opposition sectors. We have found in an active service, we haven't found any officials in active service, but traders are everywhere. But we are just keeping an eye on everything. We just review
todas las declaraciones que salen
all
contra nuestro país
declarations, all statements
de la
against
boca
our
de los
country
voceros de esa oposición,
from the spokespersons
de
of
lo que
that
están dispuestos a
opposition
hacer
that are
contra
willing
Venezuela y que han hecho contra
to
Venezuela.
act against
Intentaron
Venezuela.
invadir Venezuela, ¿vale?
They attempted to invade Venezuela,
No una vez.
not once,
Intentaron invadir por
but
allá el
they
23 de
tried to
febrero.
invade it
Entonces,
many
también enviaron un
times, and
mercenario
on
contra Venezuela.
February
Aquí no tuvieron éxito, en
10th,
Haití tuvieron
there
éxito.
was a mercenary
Ahí mataron a un presidente.
against Venezuela, and they
Aquí
succeeded in
intentaron asesinar
18,
al presidente
in which
con unos drones.
the
Eso es
president
público,
was
notorio y
assassinated,
Se ve cómo explotan
and
los
they
drones al
tried to
frente
kill,
del
to
presidente. Que hay
assassinate
heridos.
our president with a drone.
Y la mayoría de los periódicos dicen
And the
supuesto atentado.
majority of media outlets
Ellos no
said
necesitan pruebas
alleged
para hacer sus
assassination,
cosas. Esto es
alleged
decir
alleged attempt
la
on
opinión necesaria
on
para
live.
actuar,
And so that's
para actuar contra Venezuela a
the
pedido
construction of a
de este
narrative
sector
to act
desquiciado
against
de la
Venezuela,
oposición venezolana.
requested by this opposition sector.
La tercera pregunta la
Third
realiza
question,
por Televen Mauricio
Televen,
Cruz.
Mauricio Cruz.
Hola, buenas tardes para
Hi,
todos.
good afternoon.
Con
Minister,
respecto a la conversación que
regarding
tuvo
the
el profesor
conversation
universitario
of
con el FBI durante
the
más de 19
scientists
minutos, luego que esa persona
with the
capturada,
FBI after
continuaron los
this
mensajes del
person
FBI con
arrested,
ellos para seguir con esos planes que
and
estaban
the
ideando. ¿Tienen algún nombre de
do
una
you
mega
have
banda
any
criminal
name of a
precisamente
mega
vinculada con estos
criminal
planes de
group
narcotráfico? Porque
linked
estamos
to
hablando
this
de
drug
de la
dealing?
droga.
Because we are
No
just
sería
speaking
una
of
banda pequeña,
lots
si
of
tiene
tons
alguien
of
que me pueda
drugs.
adelantar.
Drugs.
Y con
If you
respecto a
have
las láminas, si me puede
any
corroborar
name that you could
brevemente
advance
lo que
regarding
observé
these
en las
slides
láminas del organigrama.
of
Había,
the chart
decía que había un dirigente
said
del
that there
gobierno
was a
nacional.
leader of the national government. Could you advance on it? Well, there were
Somos
mayors
la última en la
in the last
operación Catatumba han caído
Operation Catatumba.
relámpagos de
Relámpagos, several mayors have been fallen that were elected by ourselves, and several justices, attorney generals, police officers, military officers, and we just act in silence, work in silence, and results
están a la vista pero se sienten.
are at sight
Con respecto
and they are felt. Regarding the mega criminal groups, the mega criminal group led by Uribe, which is the largest in the world after the DEA, and that paramilitarism of Colombia led by Uribe,
se pelean no,
they just fight each other, Uribe and, well, they just, Uribe, Santo Duque, and Astrana, enemies of Venezuela.
son las mafias del narcotráfico.
Those are the mafias, the mobs of drug dealing. And regarding the blow that we gave in the Relámpago operation,
Cuando digo hasta ahora,
so
sé
far,
por qué lo estoy diciendo.
because I know what I'm
Fue
just
un
saying,
tapón,
it was
un tapón para ellos porque no podían usar el lago.
a defeat for them because they weren't able to use the lago,
Creo que en Puerto Rico,
and there
500 kilos de droga.
they
Estaban haciendo fiesta. Aquí éramos
they
31 y se hacen los locos
moved, and here
porque les estamos dando en el bolsillo a
because
ellos.
we are just hitting
No
their
se puede esconder la
pockets,
coletilla
and that's
droga
why
salida de
they
Venezuela.
put
No
the,
quiere tener una guerra al narcotráfico.
and so we are just waging a war against drug dealing. We've got operations
Tres estados
in 3 states,
de información que viene de esto.
information provided
Cuatro estados, perdón.
by these operations, pardon, 4 states that came from all these cell phones that speak a lot. And there you see all these criminal groups and the ways, the strategies, how they paid money to people, to those little commanditos, criminal groups,
Mecanismo de pago.
mechanism of payment.
Recibo de pago hasta $20,000 a Juan Pablo Guanipe.
They just paid $20,000 to Juan Pablo Panique.
Una cosita, ¿no?
My God, it's
Además dice por
so
pagos
much
atrasados.
money. And so they said for delayed
Es el
payments,
concepto
that's the concept
depósito.
of the account.
Venga que sí hay una megabanda
And so there is a mega criminal group,
del narcotráfico colombiano.
that of the
Este bolso que
Colombian
vimos
drug
ayer,
dealing,
más de 3.000 kilos
that
de
this
marihuana,
blow
más
over
los 300 y tantos
30,000
en
kilos
más
of
los
dope
160
and
¿qué pasó, Noel?
of the
la que
the-
agarraron en Puerto Rico.
the
Nos
one
agarraron en Puerto Rico, eran
that was
dominicanos,
seized
la
in
triple
Puerto
que tengo por
Rico,
ejemplo, Calito, y yo no
they
lo veo.
were Dominicans, Dominican people.
La tripulación era dominicana, no, pero salió de Venezuela.
They were coming from the Dominican Republic, and they said that they were coming from Venezuela. But here we combat
Aquí en este país.
strong
Y lo
against
estamos
drug
acorralando,
dealing,
los vamos a
and
seguir
we are
acorralando.
just corner them, and we are going to
Ellos no
continue
solo hacen daño
corner them, and so they don't only harm
Bueno, al mundo entero le hacen daño.
the whole world.
En lo político de Venezuela porque ahí están
In
manejando plata.
and in
Son los que quieren
terms of
atacar,
politics in Venezuela, because they are
atacar
dealing with
internamente,
money,
generar ese
and
estado
they
de-
want to attack us
de
directly
alarma
to
interna,
generate that
que le permita a ellos decir, "Sí
that
está pasando".
internal chaos
Sí está
to
pasando.
be able to
Simonovic está
to
desesperado
say
con
that
eso,
it is happening,
no ha
and
logrado. Tiene tanta
they are
mala suerte que
desperate
todavía
with
puso
it because they
unos
cannot
cosas,
manage so, and
unas cajas sonoras y cayó un palo de agua.
they placed
Y se le mojó la
some hypersonic boxes, and they were raining
Le están saliendo
rats,
cosas.
cats and dogs, and
Gracias.
the weapons were wet.
Hablabas de mensaje.
Thank you.
Mensaje.
When you
No,
spoke
fíjate,
of message, well, look,
este señor
this sir, who is
académico,
a scholar,
él no habla de su teléfono.
he speaks from his
Él
cell
le pide el
phone.
teléfono prestado a un señor
He just
para hablar con su
gets
esposa
another phone to speak
y su
to
esposa lo pone a hablar
her
con el
ex-wife, and her
Nosotros
ex-wife
capturamos al señor y al
contact
prestador.
him with the FBI.
Perdimos la comunicación
And
con el FBI,
then
cualquier
we
cosa nos
just lost communication with the FBI,
perdimos la comunicación ahí, pero
but
tenemos los teléfonos.
we've got the cell phones.
Tenemos los teléfonos, por eso sacamos esto que
That's
que aparece
why
ahí marcado con el
we
lápiz, es de ese teléfono.
found that information
Esas son las
marked
cosas que
by
él
the
enviaba para
pencil,
allá
and
para
that
demostrar
those
que
were
tenía
the
información.
things that he sent
Con un
there
texto.
to demonstrate he had information.
Se ve.
Those things that you saw on the screen.
La realiza por FM Center. Pedro
FM
Yajuri.
Center, Pedro Yajura.
Saludos. Buenas tardes,
Greetings,
ministro.
good afternoon,
Saludos,
Minister.
señor Pedro.
Good afternoon to all.
Gracias. Ministro,
Minister,
en esta denuncia
in
que
this
se
denunciation
está
that
formulando,
you are
se habla ya de
just
una megabanda.
you are speaking of a mega criminal group. Can we think that is migrating to the eastern, as you just commented, and this has some link to the drug dealing networks operating in Latin America and the Caribbean? And if there is any attachment of the opposition politicians participating in the elections in this conspiracy plot of drug dealing?
Acuérdate que no es solo una operación de narcotráfico,
Remember that it's not a drug dealing operation.
es una trama
It is a plot
de conspiración,
of conspiracy,
terrorismo,
of
de
terrorism,
narcotráfico,
of drug
de
dealing,
bandas.
and of criminal groups.
Y por eso yo insisto que
And so I
perdieron los
insist
escrúpulos,
that they lost their principles.
perdieron los escrúpulos. Yo
They
tengo
don't
fe que
have
hay algún
any
sector
principles, and
opositor.
so I have
No se
faith
vale.
that there is some opposition
Hoy
sector today.
están planificando
They are
ataques
planning,
contra
today
el
they are
sistema
planning against
eléctrico y de agua en
electrical,
Venezuela. Hoy día, en este momento,
electrical and water systems
Hoy
in
día.
Venezuela.
es el desespero. que
Currently, they are desperate.
tienen. Es el desespero que tienen.
They are desperate.
No,
Those,
ya, te he respondido, estoy respondiendo, déjame responder.
let me respond to you.
Déjame responder. Espérate.
Wait a minute.
Eh, son sectores que perdieron
So
los
these
escrúpulos
are
a la hora
sectors
de
that
hacer
lost their
No tienen ninguna
principles at the time of making politics.
Cuando tú lanzas
They
una
don't have
granada de
any
esas,
shame. When you
a
launch
pesar de
a
ser
grenade
personal,
of that,
cuando dicen
despite
personal, ¿no?
being personal,
Personal, es que todo el que esté ahí
you just kill
Cuando tú colocas un
everyone there.
explosivo de eso,
And when you
qué
place
tiene que poner un explosivo en
an
un hospital?
explosive, why do they have to place
¿Por
an
qué tiene que
explosive
haber
in a
como
hospital? Why do they
como objetivo un hospital?
have do they target a hospital? Because there
Quieren
it
aterrorizar
attends
al pueblo.
the
¿Por qué ponen
people,
como objetivo
and they
a los
want to
puestos
terrify
policiales?
the people. Why they target the police the police stations?
No, fuerzas policiales,
Because
entonces,
they
quieren
are
mostrar
the
tan
police
débiles.
forces, and they want to prove they
Los
are
puestos
weak,
militares tan débiles.
and that the military posts
Porque ellos tienen un concepto de
are
gente inteligente
weak,
que dice,
and
si
so
yo
they
le
have a
pongo una
concept
bomba a
of
un puesto
smart
policial,
people,
todos
and
los
that
policías
if
se van a venir
we
conmigo.
place
Es una cosa bien extraña, ¿no?
a bomb on a police station, all police officers are
Qué sé yo, pues,
coming
síndrome
with
de
me,
Estocolmo ahí.
and so it is like
Con la
the
violencia.
Stockholm
Yo me voy a ir con el que
disease.
me puso la bomba.
I am going to go
Que me intentó
with the
matar.
one that
Quería matar por mi
attends
bien.
on my life
El razonamiento.
for my sake. That is
Esta
the
gente-
reasoning of them.
Esta
So
gente
these people
no tiene vergüenza, no tiene escrúpulos.
have
Y
no
yo tengo
shame
fe
or principles,
en lo político,
and so I have faith in
que
politics
se terminen de deslindar.
that culminate,
muchos
that concludes
De los que
to
participaron el 25
be dismantling all this,
Vienen del sur.
because many of the ones that participated on
el
25 on May 25 came from Zulia. They have their links with corruption and with all these groups,
Ojalá se desvinculen.
and so I wish they
Pero como dicen
they
los pueblos,
didn't have any
pero
links,
decía
but
toda la
as
gente de Altagracia,
people said,
perro huevero, ni que le quemen la trompa.
they always act like this, and they don't
Me trae de
change.
vuelta para, bueno, pero estoy hablando del perro huevero para que se come los huevos la gallina.
They don't
La
change,
que tú eres
and
más fino,
so
pues. Pero así son.
they
Así
are
son,
like that,
Son los
Pedro.
mismos
They are the
que
same that
participaron
participated
en el golpe de Estado contra
in
Comandante
the coup d'etat against
Y
Commander
Comandante
Chavez,
no
and
los
Commander
amnistió
Chavez,
una vez, los amnistió 2 veces.
Commander
revisar.
Chavez defeated them twice,
Y al final terminaron
and at the
en
end
la ciudad de Altamira.
they
Y al
were
final
at the
terminaron
Altamira
en la asamblea del 2015.
and at the
Bueno, esa asamblea
assembly
del 2015 creo que fue el
on
escenario para la
2015,
implosión de
and
buena
it
parte de la
was
oposición.
the implosion
Se alejaron,
of a good part of the opposition.
participaron en las
Some
elecciones del
people
2020, volvieron a participar
get
ahorita,
far away,
con
got far
relativo
away,
éxito.
and
Tienen sus
some
diputados,
people
están en la
participated and
Asamblea
have
Nacional,
some results,
tienen
and
un
are
gobernador,
now at the
son
National
una
Assembly.
cuanta
They
alcaldes,
have
esta es la
a
vida
governor.
política real.
Let's see how many
Esta es la vida
mayors
política real. El país
they
está en calma, está en
they
tranquilidad,
get.
pero hay quienes
The
quieren
country is
fracturar
at
la
peace,
paz en
but
Venezuela.
some people want to
Estos días,
disturb peace
Nosotros salimos
of Venezuelans, and some days
a dar
ago
vueltas por la ciudad.
we
Nos
just
reunimos en Zulia,
visited some places
Pueblos
around
claros.
the city, and the people applaud
se siente tranquilo.
because they feel
Estos señores
peaceful,
no duermen.
they feel at peace, and so these
Y los funcionarios de las organizaciones no
misters
duermen. Para
don't
Venezuela es
sleep,
paz.
but the
En tranquilidad.
officials, the Venezuelan officials, don't sleep
cuando
for
digo que
Venezuela
no
to be
duermen,
at peace.
aquí nadie está
And when
obligado,
I
ningún
said
nadie está
that they don't
obligado, y todos
speak,
estamos
they
felices con
don't
lo que
sleep,
hacemos.
no one of
Felices.
them are compelled,
Nos
no
gusta
one
hacer
is
lo que estamos
compelled.
haciendo.
They are happy. We are pleased to do what
Llamar
we are
a
doing,
aquellos que
and
han ido por el
let's
camino de la
call
violencia,
to
llamar,
those who have taken the path of violence,
porque
let's
quieren,
say
por-
them that
quieren-
it is
quieren
enough
que bombardeen a
to be
Venezuela.
dragged down for those who want to
pidieron
bomb
un
Venezuela because they
bombardeo sobre
requested bombings on Venezuela.
porque había que acabar con el
Because
único país de América
They wanted to end with the only country of Latin America capable of manufacturing rockets
Nosotros nos preparamos
and
para la
aircrafts,
defensa
and
del
we are
territorio
ready for
de
the defense of our territory. We didn't
nadie,
say
oye.
we didn't attack
la hora de defender
anyone,
la patria,
but at the time of defending
a
our
defender.
homeland, everything is
Y
worthy,
defenderemos la patria
and
con lo que
we
tengamos,
will defend
con lo que
our
tengamos.
homeland
Yo
with
recuerdo, mira,
at
siempre
all
recuerdo,
costs. I remember,
aquellos
Pedro,
famosos
those
círculos bolivarianos.
famous Bolivarian
El país y el mundo deben recordar los
circles.
círculos bolivarianos. ¿De qué no nos acusaron? Y digo que nos acusaron porque
We
yo era
were
conocedor del encargado
accused
de los círculos
of
bolivarianos.
everything,
Estaban armados,
that all
que
those
tenían
circles,
granadas,
that
que
all
tenían no
those
sé qué. Y pasó el 11 de
circles
abril,
were
y todos salieron
armed,
los círculos bolivarianos. ¿Con
and
qué
then
armas?
on
¿Con qué
April
fusiles? ¿Con qué
4th,
granadas? Salió fue el pueblo.
how many grenades or rifles were there. The people just took to the streets defending their president, and so we are accused of so many atrocities, and we are here as Muhammad Ali on the 7 rounds, just rolling with the punches, waiting for the right time to counterattack. And so I wish those who are there thinking that it's easy to do what they think, that we are just on our crossed arms. Well, forget about this, because you will be defeated. And so we just comply with saying this, and there are other cases that we will continue informing, but we complied with saying this because this is the peace and tranquility of all Venezuelans, from Zulia to the Tamacuro, Alta Tamacuro. So let's recall when the lady, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, they said that they are going to authorize lethal force against Venezuela, and this sir from Trinidad and Tobago brought the weapons. He confessed it, and so we are just advancing it for Trinidad not to become what was colony of Duque and allowed from its territory plot against a neighboring country. So we will defend ourselves against anyone at any time. So know the enemies of our country, those outside and inside, that we are here. Stand firm, all united, in perfect civic military police union. Good afternoon to you all, and I really appreciate your attention. I really appreciate that the transmission you've made, and the task of peace is not of the government but of the whole Venezuelan people.
We were listening to statements of the Venezuelan Minister for Interior, Justice and Peace, Diosdado Cabello. The minister provided further details on the ongoing anti-terrorist actions. Cabello announced the arrest of several mayors in Zulia State and other far-right activists who use drug trafficking as a source of income for the purchase of weapons. Also, during the ongoing operations, Venezuelan authorities seized large-caliber weapons as well as grenades and RPGs. Minister Diosdado also reported the arrest of several foreign mercenaries that were involved in bringing in the weapons in the country. The official also announced that the intended targets of the mercenaries were public and government buildings like hospitals and also leaders of the Bolivarian Revolution. Minister Diosdado also denounced the campaign that sought to use the Zionist attack on Iran to establish a narrative of the alleged existence of Iranian missiles in Venezuela to seek the U.S. intervention. Cabello went further and updated the ongoing operations against drug trafficking and reported that in the first 6 months of 2025, authorities have seized more than in the whole of 2024. This is the latest information coming from Caracas, Venezuela. Stay tuned with teleSUR English for more in upcoming news briefs.